All right, we're at the bandsaw. We're going to be working with the bandsaw to go over a couple of things with our piece of wood here. I've already marked our wood with regards to the cuts that we need. We need a radius here cut in the material, as well as we need a cross cut that's going to allow us to just cut this piece so we have this bracket type of option. So what we want to do here with the bandsaw is set this up appropriately. The bandsaw, of course, has our table, it has our guard, which we're going to raise to the appropriate height in just a little bit. We have a miter gauge that's going to allow us to do that straight cut across and hold the material appropriately. We have a throat plate, so when I raise the guard here, okay, and remember, these guards are meant to be stiff because we don't want them to be accidentally sliding or moving. So they do require a little bit of force to get them moving in the direction that you want, but it shouldn't be something that is so difficult where you're being challenged. So if you have a question or need some assistance, please ask the first couple of times you're working with this. We have this throw plate here. This is silver. You're never to put your fingers into that throw plate while the saw is operating, and you should never have your hands exposed and any of your digits exposed in line with the blade when it's operating, just in case, because you don't want to have something accidentally slide through. If material ends up building up around here because you have some waste, you shut off the saw. You then can scoop that out with a waste stick or something along those lines. Okay, this saw should be optimally operated with the vacuum running. I do not have that on for this demonstration, simply for being able to pick up the audio so you can hear this. But when the lab is running and you're in here, you're going to make sure that the vacuum is running so that we're able to suck any waste particles away. The bandsaw is going to be used for wood, but however, our bandsaws can be set up to cut different metals, plastics, and lumbers. The blades types will be provided in terms of an optimal. If there's nothing listed on the bandsaw, it can be used for any material. If there is a material that's listed here that it's optimized for, so it's aluminum, or it's wood only, aluminum only, steel only, that'll be labeled on the bandsaw itself to make sure you're aware of what you can or cannot cut on the material. The bandsaw is basically a 93-inch loop of metal that's serrated, that's allowed to cut. So if in the event that something's going to go wrong, typically the band will actually shoot out sideways if you were to snap this blade. However, with anything, you're always concerned about it. So we're wearing our safety glasses. I don't have any wholly hanging or loose options with me. I'm going to just turn this on. I'm going to wait for it to get to full speed, and I'm going to make my cut. When I'm making this radius cut, I'm going to put in some extra cuts here just to make sure that we have the opportunity to make some stops along the way. So basically some just cuts here that are going to allow you to make some relief cuts, because that's going to provide you first relief within the wood and then relief as you're going along. So what we're going to do here is turn this on, get to full speed, about 15 seconds, we're at full speed. I'm going to make some cuts that go down and almost get to that line. I can back out as long as they're nice and straight. All right, making sure that I'm not putting myself in position to get hurt, keeping my hands outside that throw plate. So I have my relief cuts in position. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly follow that radius, keeping my hands outside the throw plate, and I'm basically going to play a game of connect the dots, where I'm taking the blade, slowly turning the wood, and getting from one space to the other. If I feel like I'm getting out of position, I make that relief cut. I have material, I can remove it, I can reposition to the other side if I feel like that's a better option. All right, if I can't, I'm gonna have to go back. I can always cut more waste stock off, because I know this is waste material. I can make a cross cut here. All right, I gonna cut off some extra material here to allow for some repositioning in a way that I feel comfortable with. Now I have some waste material that's building up here on the throat plate that I don't feel comfortable with, so I'm gonna turn off the saw. I have some extra material here that I still have to remove. Wait till I get to full stop. Now I'm gonna be able to remove some material here, get it out from underneath the guard so I don't have any jam up. I have this material right here that I don't want it to, get in my way or prevent me from being able to make the cuts that I want. So I'm gonna get rid of that, throw that in the trash. Okay, now I'm gonna start the saw back up and finish this cut. Okay, so I finished that cut. You'll notice that I left a little extra material here on the waistline because I can go to a sander and sand that off and make that a nice smooth line because there is going to be some little jagged pieces in here that I want to clean off, just some waste material. I'm going to wait, I've got this stop, so I'm going to get these extra pieces out. Again, throw it in the trash. Now I have this cross cut that I'm going to do here. I'm going to use the miter gauge. I've got that set up at 90 degrees currently. I'm gonna go over here. Yep, got my line lined up. I have my waistline telling me which side is the waist side. I've got some knots and stuff that I just don't care about, so I'm gonna get that off. And I'm gonna turn that on. My hand's outside the throat plate. My hand's not directly behind. I have this set up at 90 degrees. I'm on the waist side of the line. Straight across. Got my material cut straight across. The waistline wasn't necessarily straight, but the blade cut straight. So now I have my bracket that I can go do whatever I need to do with this. Again, sweep this off, clean anything up, lower the guard. When you're done, tighten that up so that's in place. And I have this bracket piece with my radius and my cross cut. Again, this saw is very versatile with its capabilities, and it's something that we should definitely understand that when you're making your cuts, you have a lot of opportunity with the bandsaw. It might not be the best for your straight cuts, but it's really great at your radiuses. So best practice radiuses with bandsaw or some nice freehand cuts that don't really matter or depend on the straightness of your miters or your rips. It can do all of those things, and which is a really powerful tool while you're fabricating or making something.